Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Philadelphia, this is CBS 3 Eyewitness News this morning.
Scorched earth. 4 wildfires are leaving destruction behind and threatening multi-million-dollar homes in California. We'll tell you why crews say the worst is yet to come.
I'm scared. I'm horrified that this happened in front of my children.
A terrified mother says an angry driver followed her into a parking lot. Hear what happened next.
And Senator Al Franken is expected to make a big announcement today, just a day after many fellow Democratic senators called on him to step down. Today is Thursday, December 7th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Donovan.
And I'm Rahel Solomon. All that plus why a Pennsylvania police department is doing away with tickets in the name of charity. But first, a check on the forecast with Katie and the roads with Misha. Good morning, guys.
Hey, guys. Good morning and happy Gateway. So
Yes.
We're looking outside right now, already kind of busy. So an overturned box truck, but even more importantly, we had an accident happened earlier this morning that left the driver in critical condition and some ramp closures. So we'll be talking about all that coming up. Yeah.
So it's very quiet, at least on this side of the desk. You know, when the weather really has calmed down, a very tranquil look currently over Center City. And we do, thankfully, have a pretty light wind to go with this for the most part. It's still out there at about 13 miles per hour out of the west, making it feel a little bit colder. But I don't expect that it's going to exceed that much more throughout the course of the day. So looking at storm scan, you do still have a deck of cloud cover over Delaware, parts of New Jersey. Things are beginning to clear out the further north and west you travel. It's generally just a quiet upcoming day ahead before even more activity gets underway. So for now, when you look at the temperature change just in the last 24 hours, the temperature has in fact dropped substantially by comparison. We were in the mid and even upper 50s this same time yesterday. So now that cold has absolutely caught up to us. And looking around the region just as a whole, yes, a tad breezy still, but you're starting to see much more of what's typical on the thermometer. The problem is, Misha, this nosedive isn't done yet. We've got more pulses of Arctic air coming, so I'll let you know where we bottom out coming up.
All right, Katie, thank you so much. And we are looking at video now of that accident I was referring to just up at the desk moments ago. It's the Ronhurst neighborhood in Northeast Philly, so it happened around 2:40 a.m. Let me back out of the way so you can see this. Driver hit a tree and is in, like I said, critical condition. Boulevard southbound before Cotman Avenue. The outer lanes right now are closed. However, you can still use the inner lanes. As soon as they get this cleared up, I will let you know. But right now, that is what you'll be working with there. On this stretch, we have the overturned box truck, the ramp from Woodhaven Road onto 95 South. That ramp is closed clearly. You can see all the flashing lights. So even if you're heading out early this morning and you're not contending with volume, you certainly want to stay clear from that area. More construction on the Schuylkill we're going to be talking about coming up in the next 10 minutes. Jim, back over to you.
Thank you, Misha. Well, police are searching for the gunman who shot 2 teenagers in West Philadelphia, leaving one of them in critical condition. We counted at least 10 bullet casings outside a Chinese restaurant on the 1400 block of North 52nd Street. That's where police say someone opened fire on the 19 and 17-year-old victims. The younger victim ran into the restaurant for help. Well, a frightening road rage incident has left a local mother shaken up. It happened Monday afternoon at Arcola and South Collegeville roads in Upper Providence, Montgomery County. Lisa O'Neill says she was driving around with her 2 young sons when she accidentally cut in front of another driver. O'Neill says the driver followed her into a busy parking lot at the Providence Town Center.
The guy kind of boxed me in so I couldn't move and jumped out of his car in a rage. I put down the window to tell him, you know, I'm very sorry, whether it was my fault or not, I didn't care. I was very sorry if I cut him off. And at that point, I realized he was in a complete rage.
O'Neill says the man hit her in the head and then took off. Police are concerned it could happen again. They describe the driver as an older white male, heavy set with white hair and driving a dark blue Chrysler. If you recognize the description, please contact police.
Police are searching for a man apparently using a stolen Philadelphia Parking Authority uniform to commit crimes. Take a look at the surveillance video. Police say this man stole a lawnmower, a grill, and other items from a business called Fastway Courier Services in Bridesburg on Sunday. They say the uniform he's wearing there belonged to a Philadelphia Parking Authority employee. That uniform was stolen out of their car weeks ago. If you have any information, police want to hear from you. An update now. A person suspected of violently robbing an elderly blind man last month in Upper Darby is now in custody. This is the suspect who was arrested for the attack, 25-year-old Marvin Harper. The attack happened November 26th on Glendale Road. The 75-year-old victim, who is visually impaired, was tackled from behind. Police say Harper made off with the man's money and phone. The victim is still suffering from a broken hip and leg.
Well, it's hard to believe, but officials say the worst may be yet to come in Southern California. That's where firefighters are doing everything they can to combat 4 major wildfires. Tens of thousands of acres are burning across the region. Here's CBS News correspondent Danielle Nottingham.
Flames and smoke continue to engulf parts of Southern California, hours before the powerful Santa Ana winds picked up.
The wind is expected to kick up in some places to 70 miles an hour. That's hurricane force winds.
This fire just got way bigger. It's now on the freeway.
Those winds helped fan a new wildfire Wednesday near the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. As helicopter crews made water drops on hot spots in the area, firefighters on the ground raced to save multi-million-dollar homes in Bel Air.
I go over here, the whole mountain is on fire.
Thousands of people were forced to evacuate, leaving much of their possessions behind.
With multiple wildfires burning here in Southern California, resources have been stretched thin. Firefighters have requested more assistance as they continue to battle the flames.
We have resources coming as far away as Northern California. We made requests to our regional partners through surrounding states and the western part of this country.
The largest fire in the region is burning in Ventura County, where more than 65,000 acres have burned. The air quality has gotten so bad, residents there are wearing masks.
This is it's kind of like nuclear winter, I guess.
Fire officials have warned residents throughout Southern California to be ready to evacuate, with weather conditions expected to get even worse. Danielle Nottingham for CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, the military is lending a big helping hand. This is a giant C-130 now fighting the fire from the air. A news helicopter caught the plane in action while the pilot described the coordinated effort to battle the flames.
That's the lead smoke from an aircraft ahead of him, saying, basically telling that plane, this is where you need to drop, and there he goes. He's making that drop right now. I'm going to get a little bit wider here, and you can see some of the area that is burned, and we also have some active fire out here as well.
Now, the C-130 is usually used for military missions and dropping troops and supplies into combat zones.
We expect a major announcement today from embattled Democratic Senator Al Franken. Most people expect that the Minnesota senator will resign. This comes as a growing number of Democratic senators yesterday called on Franken to step down over allegations of sexual misconduct. Most recently, a former Democratic congressional aide claimed Franken tried to forcibly kiss her in 2006.
We need to draw a line in the sand and say none of it is okay. None of it is acceptable. And we, as elected leaders, should absolutely be held to a higher standard.
If Franken does announce he's resigning, Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton would then appoint a 10-month replacement, and the Senate seat would then be up for grabs in the 2018 election. President Trump is meeting with congressional leaders today. It's an effort to stop a government shutdown. They are expected to talk about long-term spending limits, among other things. President Trump has warned that the government may shut down Saturday. He says Democrats would be to blame if that happens. The House is expected to take up a spending bill today. The deadline to get a new spending bill passed is tomorrow.
Well, hateful graffiti rocks a Philadelphia school community, and police want to know who did it. It was found on a rear door at the A.L. Fitzpatrick Elementary School in Chalfont yesterday morning. The district alerted police, and Northeast detectives are now investigating. School officials are not disclosing the content of the vandalism, but we're told by a teacher at the school it was racially motivated. A Pennsylvania appeals court has denied a second request to free Philadelphia rapper Meek Mill on bail. The 30-year-old musician was sentenced last month to 2 to 4 years in prison for parole violations. The judge who sentenced Meek Mill to jail had struck down a similar request, calling him, quote, a danger to the community. Mill's attorneys have called for that judge to step aside from the case.
As President Franklin Roosevelt said, it is a date which will live in infamy. Today is the 76th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. On December 7th, 1941, Japanese planes bombed the U.S. naval base on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. Pearl Harbor was home to nearly 100 ships at the time. The attack here killed nearly 2,500 Americans and brought the country into the Second World War.
Well, take a look at all of this destruction.
A woman is in complete disbelief after a pickup crashes into this home.
Seeing a truck inside of the house.
Here, the homeowner described the moment the truck plowed through the wall.
And how police in one Pennsylvania town are fighting hunger by doing away with traffic tickets. We'll be right back. 441 and back now on Eyewitness News. 2 men are in the hospital this morning following a double shooting in Nicetown. Chopper 3 over that scene on the 3600 block of Sydenham Street just after 7:30 last night. Authorities say a 22-year-old man was shot in the chest and leg, and a 23-year-old man was shot multiple times in the back. The 2 victims are in critical condition. No word on a suspect or motive. A New Hampshire woman says the weatherman did call for thunder, but what she heard was even louder, a truck smashing right into her house. Irene Turner says the pickup came barreling down a road and then drove across her lawn before finally crashing into the side of her house. The room where Irene usually watches TV was demolished, and Irene and her granddaughter say they are amazed.
The worst kaboom thought. I thought I got hit by a missile or something. It was boom. It was more than thunder.
2 chairs, a couch, the TV. You can still see the TV.
To run like that, he's guilty for something.
Oh, just glad they're okay. To make matters worse, though, the crash disabled Irene's only bathroom. The driver did take off, and police say the truck's owner reported it stolen.
Well, a police department up in Erie County, Pennsylvania is fighting hunger in a very unique way. This month, they're not giving tickets for most minor violations or for parking illegally. Instead, the department is giving out flyers for people to donate money or food to the local food pantry. It's all for a campaign called Corey City Police Against Hunger. Police there say they love the idea.
Why not allow people that option of not paying a ticket but actually paying it forward to someone else?
Police say they hope to make this an annual event. That is a great idea, especially for minor violations. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos. Hopefully that catches on in other jurisdictions.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's talk about here.
You ready for the cold? I mean, it's pretty much already here.
If we say no, does that?
Do we have a choice? Exactly. Not really. But it is already pretty cold outside, a little brisk throughout the day, but today is at least a quiet day. This is a pretty active pattern that's unfolding in the next few days. We do have multiple opportunities to see some snow, but for now, we are really just going to see high pressure very briefly take the reins here. Now, I show you this very wide zoom for a reason. We had a front yesterday that's completely gone, but it's strung out and essentially stalled nearby. Now you're going to get an area below pressure developing on its tail end. That's what rides the northeast or to the northeast through the mid-Atlantic. It will definitely track. Does it track here, however? I got to tell you, with the most up-to-date guidance, it is not looking all that likely that you would see any kind of snow, save for Sussex County and out toward Cape May County. Should that change, we'll obviously let you know, but this storm just continues to creep a little bit further out to sea with every passing model run. So snow lovers, you're going to have to head out near the shore points, I think, if you're really looking for any snow. And even then, it does not look like it's going to be all that impressive. Take a look at one particular model that even keeps this completely out to sea. Look at this. I mean, you're talking just barely out to sea for our area. So this is 9 p.m. Friday. If this were to pan out, we see nothing but clouds. So there is a possibility that we bust anyway and don't get any snowflakes anyway. It is so critical with the track on this one, but I am still thinking, my gut tells me that that extreme southeast edge of our area is in fact going to see a little bit of this. Fear not, there's opportunity down the pike here for the rest of us to see a few snow showers, and it comes from this front dropping in come Sunday. That's when we'll likely see just a passing snow shower. It's not going to amount to much, but that is the next shot for anyone to see a quick little batch of snow. 40 is the current temperature. Meanwhile, right now at the airport, you've got a predominant westerly wind flow. With time, we rebound to a pretty seasonable 48 degrees, Misha, with sunshine.
All right, Katie, thank you so much for that, and a very good morning to all of you. So we're looking at video of an accident that actually happened earlier this morning at around 2:40 a.m. in the Ronhurst neighborhood of Northeast Philly. A driver hit a tree and is in critical condition right now. So the boulevard southbound before Cottman Avenue, the outer lanes are closed. You can use the inner lanes. I would say avoid the area if you can. If you can't, you will have to use the inner lanes, and it might start to get a little slow around that area now. Overturned box truck here, the ramp from Woodhaven Road onto 95 South. That ramp is closed right now, plus overnight construction still out there. Schuylkill eastbound is closed between Vine and South Street. One lane is blocked in the westbound direction. Heads up for this. This is one of those areas that the volume isn't going to play a part right now, but it certainly will as we push a little bit further into the 5 o'clock hour. And also crews here. 422 eastbound is closed right now between Ben Franklin Highway and Route 100, so you will have to use an alternate. Route 724 is going to be your best bet. As you can see, though, still lots of green around that area. Rahel, back over to you.
All right, Misha, thank you. Checking sports now on a late night for Flyers fans, but the orange and black could be starting a turnaround.
Captain Claude Giroux starts the cycle that leads to a goal by Jordan Wheel to tie the Oilers at 1 in Edmonton last night. Giroux also had an assist on a goal by Dale Weiss. The Flyers beat the Oilers 4-2 for their second win, and they sweep the season series against Edmonton. Flyers play the Canucks in Vancouver tonight. Well, coming up, the future of food delivery is coming.
This morning's Money Watch report will tell you which major city will have food delivery rovers rolling on its streets. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. The time now is 4:49. Time for a check on business news.
Money Watch's Diane King Hall joins us live this morning from the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Diane. So the cost of healthcare continues to grow faster than the economy, and stocks also finished mixed yesterday. Let's talk numbers.
All right, that's right. Stocks did finish mixed. The Dow fell 39 points. The NASDAQ, though, ended higher by 14 points. Meantime, the federal government says healthcare spending reached $3.3 trillion last year. That is $10,348 for every man, woman, and child in this country. The 4.3% annual increase was lower than it was in 2015. Hospital care accounts for over 30% of all health care spending, followed by physician and clinical costs and drugs. Rahul and Jim?
So, Diane, you know that I believe the robots are taking over, and I understand there's now a new way to order a meal in Los Angeles that involves these robots.
That's right. Postmates is rolling out a fleet of food delivery rovers for certain deliveries across LA. The robotic rovers are like small wheeled carts that make the automated deliveries. Lest you think they're leaving us out on the East Coast, Postmates is offering free traditional delivery minus the robots nationwide until Friday for app users. You do have to use the code TOPCHEF. But, Jim, I'm with you. I do think the robots are taking
Are they going to? I wonder if they're going to be driving on the streets, or do I have to avoid them on the sidewalks?
Yeah, are we going to see them on the sidewalks, or are they going to be taking over the roads?
How are we going to share this? Is it going to be humans and robots, or are they just going to wipe us out like in the
Humans can barely
movies?
drive on the roads, Diane.
Thanks, Diane. We'll check in with you in the next half hour. Well, the temps, they just keep on falling.
Katie, please tell me this is a typo. We're talking about highs potentially in the 30s?
It's a possibility. At least there's a few days where we spend the majority of the day stuck in the 30s. But yes, the Arctic pulses of air just keep on coming. So that means the nosedive continues. I will let you know where we bottom out coming up in the 7-day.
Well, a generation learned to get excited about science thanks to Bill Nye the Science Guy and that famous lab coat.
Now that lab coat is taking its place in American history as a museum exhibit. Bill Nye tweeted this picture yesterday. He says his lab coat is now in the Smithsonian. You will notice his bow tie is also there. It's in the T is for Television exhibit at the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. And I cannot hear Bill Nye's name these days without thinking Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's like, you can't have one without the other. And we can't have Katie Falinger without talking about the weather. I just
Really?
did a little rhyme
Like
there.
ever?
No. You have much more to give. You have much more to offer,
Yeah, you know,
Katie.
it's funny though. I can't have like that simple, easy elevator conversation with anybody about just, hey, how about this weather? Because I'm like, well, yeah, high pressure's building in, and that means it's going to be fair weather.
See,
it's
yeah,
funny.
you love it. You love science.
You're right. I do. I absolutely do. So if you want to stop me on the street and, either herald me or blame me for the weather, I'm so used to it, and that's totally cool. But let me give you the message of this week, which is the cold really beginning to settle in here. And I show you this very wide zoom on storm scan again for a reason. Off to the south and west, you'll notice over Louisiana, Texas, a lot of moisture starting to pent up here, and that is going to morph into the next area of low pressure, which moves northeast. I don't think this is going to have a major impact on us, but you will get clipped by this very likely through a Sussex County, a Cape May County, perhaps a little further inland. Track is critical on this, and again, that's tomorrow night. For now, though, it's sunny, it's brisk. The gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. The high up to 48. That's where we should be, but don't get used to that. We drop down to 29 tonight as more pulses of cold air come along. The temperature just continues to drop off here. And yeah, look at Wednesday next week. Oh my goodness. Right now, at best, we're calling for a high of 35 degrees. Not much better, though, leading up to that point. A few snow chances. Again, Friday night at the shore. Sunday, anyone could see a quick passing snow shower, and then maybe on Tuesday we get in on another round of light rain or even some snow mixed in. Misha.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Katie, like it or not, it's time. It's in December. Thank you so much. We're looking outside right now, you guys, and we've been talking about where this crash happened a little bit earlier at around 2:40 a.m. So it's in the Ronhurst neighborhood of Northeast Philly. A driver hit a tree and right now is in critical condition. Boulevard southbound before Cottman Avenue, the outer lanes are closed. So you will have to use the inner lanes. I would say avoid the area if you can. If you cannot, like I said, outer lanes closed there, so you'll have to use the inner lanes. But this is going to be one of those areas that is going to start to get very busy, and volume levels are going to play a factor. And as they're cleaning up this area, when everything is underway, we're going to have a lot of gate delay around this area as well. So again, I would just avoid it if you can. Looking outside, an overturned box truck here. So this is the ramp from Woodhaven Road onto 95 South. That ramp is closed, by the way. You can see all the flashing lights. There's service personnel still out there. You can access 95 from Academy Road. That is probably going to be your best bet right now. And again, I always say, if you can avoid that area completely, you certainly want to do so. Overnight construction projects, they are still underway as well. Schuylkill eastbound is closed between Vine and South Street. You can see the cones in the roadway, but what you can also see here is how many vehicles are starting to pile up here and all the brake lights going off. So just a heads up, if you're heading out there right now, we're actually looking pretty busy this morning, which is a little odd considering we have nice dry roadways to contend with. Just a lot going on. Construction crews still out here in multiple areas. We were just talking about the Schuylkill, looking at 422 as well. 422 eastbound is closed between Ben Franklin Highway and Route 100. You will have to use your alternate here. Route 724 is going to be your best bet. Jim, back over to you.
Thank you, Misha. Well, coming up in the next hour of CBS 3 Eyewitness News, we are live with an update on the condition of two teenagers shot last night in West Philadelphia.
Also ahead, wildfires continue to burn across much of California. We'll have a live report on efforts to gain the upper hand and see more of these incredible images from the scene.
And there's a new list out this morning of the safest vehicles. We'll tell you which ones are on it. We're back at the top of the hour.